it's hard to pinpoint the exact plan for the Cleveland Cavaliers and their star guard Donovan Mitchell, but there's been recent chatter around the NBA, and it seems to point to the All-Stars' future being with another team. Could that team be the Miami Heat? Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat basketball channel. My name is Amir. Before I get into today's video, I just want to thank everybody for their continued support. If you could please subscribe to the channel, that would mean a lot to me. So thank you so much. So Donovan Mitchell is under contract until the end of this season. And last offseason, Donovan Mitchell had the opportunity to sign an extension, and he did not, which I think is a sign that he plans or intends on leaving the Cleveland Cavaliers. He hasn't directly stated that he wants to leave. He's been pretty drama-free, unlike James Harden, who usually protests and whines and sits out until he gets dealt to the team of his desire. But Donovan Mitchell has not said he wants to be traded yet, or has specified what team he wants to play for if he does get traded. So he's pretty much drama-free and a really great player, honestly, and someone that I would be excited if the Miami Heat were able to trade for. So the issue here is that the Cavs, if they are going to trade him, should and need to trade him before the trade deadline. So on Monday, there was an episode on ESPN's podcast with Brian Windhorst and the Hoop Collective, and Brian Windhorst highlighted that there might be a potential bidding war between multiple teams, likely the Nets and Knicks, because Mitchell is from that area and has stated that he would be interested in playing close to home, possibly. And he also said there would be interest amongst the Miami Heat and some other teams as well. So the list of teams that could emerge as suitors for Mitchell seems to be growing longer by the day. And on that same podcast, ESPN insider Tim Bontemps reiterated he does not believe the guard will re-sign with the Cavs. I've created a video in the past also stating what Tim Bontemps said in the offseason, and his thoughts were that he is going to be traded by the deadline. So time will definitely tell what's going to happen. So going back to the start, the Cleveland Cavs traded for Donovan Mitchell for a hefty haul. They traded Lauri Markkanen, who has now become an all-star and also a potential candidate to get traded, and someone the Miami Heat would definitely be interested in as well. So the Jazz received Markkanen, Colin Sexton, O'Shea, Agbabi, and 3 first-round picks and 2 pick swaps. The Cavs gave up a ton to acquire Spida, and they assumed by acquiring Donovan Mitchell, this would put them over the top. And they recently added players over the past few seasons like Jared Allen from the Nets and Karis LeVert. They also drafted Darius Garland, who has since become an all-star. They also drafted Evan Mobley with their 3rd-round pick, and he was the runner-up for Rookie of the Year and has shown a lot of promise and development over his first few seasons. So they assumed that Donovan Mitchell was going to be that final piece of the puzzle for this young and up-and-coming team to become a contender in the East. Yet last season, they had a horrible loss in the first round to the crappy, weak New York Knicks. In the first round, they lost to the Knicks in 5 games, and they even had home court advantage, which makes that much worse. And we all know what happened to the Knicks in the second round as they got dusted by Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat, even though Jimmy hurt his ankle, missed the game, and was playing injured for the remainder of the playoffs. And so, look, there's plenty of reasons why it hasn't worked last season and this season. So Evan Mobley is someone that we're depending on to develop quicker and improve. He's definitely talented. He's getting better, but he has not improved nearly quick enough to make the team a contender. He has not developed his shot or been able to stretch the floor like they thought he would. And so pairing him up next to Jarrett Allen, who clogs the paint and can't do anything offensively, has been a real detriment. Another issue is Garland and Spida simply don't mesh well in the backcourt. Darius is injured right now, so that has been one major factor. So has Mobley. They're both out. They're both going to be out for a few months, and that's going to be tough for this team to stay afloat and survive in a competitive Eastern Conference. But Spida has actually improved and has played much better and freely without Garland. So I think that's a sign that they don't mesh well. Again, earlier I mentioned Donovan Mitchell turned down a contract extension this offseason, which again isn't a great sign for the Cavs. If he wanted to stay here, he could have got the bag and secured that second huge contract. So I think this means the Cavs should trade him if they want to get any value back, because by the end of the season, if he doesn't sign with the Cavs, he's going to walk away for free, and they've given up an all-star in Markkanen, all those picks, and Colin Sexton is a good rotational player as well. So they've lost a lot for a 2-year rental, essentially. So another issue too is that the Cavs only have one more draft pick that they're going to own in the next 7 years. So next year they'll have their pick, and then all the rest of those picks have gone to the Utah Jazz in the trade for Donovan Mitchell. So that's also a huge issue, is they're not going to be able to develop talent unless they trade Mitchell to get some draft capital back. So the only way they'll get picks in the near future is if they make a trade, whether it's Mitchell or Garland or Mobley or someone else. But this iteration is not working. So the Miami Heat come into play now. The Miami Heat, we all know, pursued Donovan Mitchell 2 summers ago, and they could have had another chance to trade for the All-Star again soon. We'll see. But we know that the Heat have missed out on a lot of whales, including obviously most recently Damian Lillard, KD in the past, Donovan Mitchell, and some other players. But we all know that the Miami Heat didn't have the assets to even acquire Donovan Mitchell, as you could see what the Jazz gave up. The Heat could not compete with that, especially from a draft capital perspective. Couldn't compete with the Knicks, who had more picks and young players they could have offered if they were to win that sweepstakes 2 summers ago. So I'm not upset about that. But again, Cavs have struggled. Mitchell's looming contract decision is coming up, and they need to acquire some assets before he walks away for nothing. The Cavs are at a respectable 15-12, even though they've dealt with injuries, and they're in the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. But that's disappointing against expectations from last season in the regular season. They were a better team last year. So do we think Donovan Mitchell would be a good fit with the Heat? I think so, for sure. And I think the Miami Heat have an edge over other teams for a few different reasons. One, we all know that Donovan Mitchell would accept a trade and wants to play in Miami. He spends time in Miami during the off season, and so we know that is a destination and a team that he would be okay with. Another factor is that he's really good friends with Bam Adebayo, and they have mentioned they want to play with each other. Another factor is that the Heat have a clear need for someone more offensive-minded, capable next to Jimmy Butler. Bam has definitely stepped up, become more aggressive this season, which is helpful, but we need that killer, clutch, 3-level scorer, and so Donovan Mitchell would fit the best with the Miami Heat around Bam and Jimmy Butler. It just makes the most sense in terms of fit, because the other candidates, the Nets, I don't see him playing super well with Bridges. I don't see him playing super well with like a Jalen Brunson. So I think playing with the Miami Heat would make the most sense. So do the Miami Heat have enough to acquire him? I think so. Could other teams provide better offers? Yes, but if we explore some options, the Miami Heat could and probably should get rid of Tyler Hero, obviously. If we're going to get Mitchell, that's going to be kind of redundant. So trading Tyler Hero and adding a young asset like a Nikola Jovic and 2 first-round picks in 2028 and 2030 could definitely, possibly move the needle, especially because if they don't trade him, the Cavs are going to get 0 assets in return. So they might ask for Jaime Jaquez instead of Nikola Jovic, and if that's the case, if I were the Heat, I would only offer 1 first-round pick and throw in another possible player, or I would try to stick with Hero, Jaquez, and a first round. If not, then I think a package of Hero, 2 first-round picks, Jovic, and a Caleb Martin could possibly move the needle in this case. So, I don't know. I am desperate for a Miami Heat trade. This team is deeper and better, but we've been dealing with constant injuries. We're never whole. We're inconsistent. We blow a lot of double-digit leads, and I don't know. I just don't think we could win with just Jimmy, Bam, and Tyler. I think we need a new star on this team, and I would definitely love to see Spida in Miami, especially during the playoffs, because he's been known to have clutch performances, minus last season, but he's been clutch in the playoffs with the Jazz. He's a capable 3-level scorer, and he's someone that will definitely help us get a bucket when we need one the most. So I'm open to this. I hope we can get this trade before the trade deadline. The Heat are like 6th seed as well, or 5th seed, I think, at like, actually no, I think we're the 8th seed now. We're at 15 and 12. So we definitely need to make a move, and I'm open to having Spida come to the Heat. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Would you guys want Donovan Mitchell on the Heat for Jaime Jaquez and Tyler Hero? I don't know. I don't want to think about giving up Jaime, but you have to give up a Jaime for a player like Donovan if it means winning a championship within Jimmy's window. So let me know your thoughts. Talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.